Have you ever wondered where your spirit goes after death? Perhaps at some point in your life you felt that silent restlessness, a curiosity that no one can ignore about what happens when we leave our physical body behind. It's an ancient question, one that spans generations, religions, and cultures, yet continues to provoke a mix of fear, hope, and fascination. What you'll discover now may surprise you, because we'll explore something that goes far beyond superficial beliefs or popular concepts about life after death. Stay with me until the end, because every detail we reveal has the power to transform the way you view your own existence. These reflections come from messages attributed to Emmanuel, spirit recognized for his wisdom and serenity, who worked alongside Chico Xavier, offering profound teachings about life, death, and the evolution of the soul. Emmanuel didn't offer simple or superficial answers. His messages invite us to examine ourselves, our choices, and the paths we've taken throughout life. Studying these messages allows us to understand that death is not the end, but a transition, a stage in the soul's ongoing process of learning and transformation. Have you ever felt lost, insecure, or anxious about what lies ahead? Know that these doubts are not only common, but fundamental for us to reflect on and prepare for what awaits us. Along this journey, we'll discover that there are 7 possible destinations for the spirit after death, each with its own characteristics and profound meanings. These places are not merely geographical or physical points, but spiritual states that reflect our attitudes, choices, and levels of evolution while incarnate. Each destination reveals something essential about who we are, how we live, and how our actions impact not only ourselves but also those around us. What makes this information even more fascinating is realizing that it offers us valuable clues on how to live more consciously, lovingly, and responsibly, while still having the opportunity to shape our spiritual destiny. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to clearly understand the paths your soul can take after life. Think about how many everyday decisions, actions, and thoughts are connected to this invisible destiny that awaits us. What you're about to discover now isn't just spiritual theory. It's an invitation to reflect, transform, and approach a greater understanding of existence. You may have already heard stories, experiences, or messages that speak of these subtle worlds. But what Emmanuel has brought is different. He offers clarity, authority, and a practical vision that connects spirituality with everyday life in a unique and accessible way. What if I told you that each of these 7 places holds teachings that can directly influence the way you live, love, and relate to the world around you? Stay with me until the end, because we'll explore each destination, understand its deeper meaning, and discover how these revelations can apply to your life today, not just after death. The curiosity you feel now is natural. It's a sign that your soul is ready to delve into deeper reflections, and it's precisely this curiosity that guides us on this journey. Without revealing everything at once, we can say that each destination is a mirror, showing us what we need to understand, correct, or value in ourselves. Now, imagine you're about to enter a universe of discovery that blends spirituality, philosophy, and messages from beyond, led by one of the most respected spirits in the Spiritist doctrine. The sense of anticipation, the desire to understand more, to get closer to answers that touch the heart and mind, this is just the beginning. What follows will expand your perspective on life, death, and the paths our soul takes, revealing details you probably never imagined. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and prepare yourself, because the journey through the 7 places of the Spirit is about to begin, and each step will lead you to profound reflections on who you are and who you can become. Have you ever stopped to wonder where your spirit goes after death? Many people avoid thinking about this subject, but the truth is that it sparks a natural curiosity, one that's been present in all of us since we first understood ourselves as conscious beings. What if I told you there are 7 possible destinies for our soul, each profoundly reflecting the choices, feelings, and actions we cultivate while alive? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now could completely transform the way you view life, death, and the path of your own spiritual evolution. When we talk about spirits and the afterlife, The human mind often tends to imagine concrete places with colors, shapes, or landscapes. But Emmanuel, a spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier, reminds us that these destinations are not just physical locations, but rather states of the soul, spiritual conditions, that reflect everything we carry within: love, regret, learning, fear, compassion, or resentment. Each soul follows where its own inner vibration leads it. And understanding this allows us to reflect on how our daily attitudes and thoughts have consequences that go far beyond material life. Have you ever experienced situations where you felt your actions return to you in unexpected ways? This is the logic that governs the destinies of the spirit. Imagine a spirit who, during their lifetime, cultivated empathy, helped others, forgave, and sought to evolve. Their journey after death is not only a path of rest, but also of continued learning. They find peace, understanding, and opportunities for growth. On the other hand, there are spirits who carry deep hurts, regrets, or emotional addictions. And for them, the experience after death can be more challenging, requiring reflection, reparation, and inner evolution before they can achieve serenity. What Emmanuel teaches us is that each spiritual destination is, above all, a mirror of who we are. And understanding this helps us live more consciously and fully. Throughout history, many people have reported sensations, dreams, and experiences that seem to indicate the existence of these spiritual states. Emmanuel, with his serene and profound wisdom, brought this information to light through the psychography of Chico Xavier, creating a detailed map of the soul's journey. He invites us to observe not only the destinies themselves, but also what each of them reveals about our choices, how we deal with challenges, and how we can cultivate virtues that elevate us spiritually. Stay with me, because each revelation we explore below will show you how the destinies of the spirit are intimately linked to the life we live here and now. You may be wondering, but is this real? How can I know where I'm going? The answer, according to Emmanuel, lies not in fortune-telling or luck, but in understanding and practicing goodness daily, paying attention to our attitudes, seeking self-knowledge, and transforming negative feelings into learning and compassion. Each of the 7 spiritual destinations offers us unique teachings that can serve as a guide for us to reflect on our own lives. The most interesting thing is to realize that even without realizing it, we are constantly building the path our soul will follow. And these messages help us see this with clarity and awareness. So, imagine now that we're about to embark on a profound journey through the 7 places of the spirit. Each of them holds lessons that directly connect with your life, the choices you make, and how you face challenges, relationships, and even past mistakes. The anticipation you feel at this moment is natural, because we're about to enter a universe of discovery that blends spirituality, reflection, and messages from beyond in a way you've never experienced before. Each destination we explore reveals more than just where the spirit goes. It shows what's essential for us to evolve, love more, and understand our existence more deeply. Have you ever stopped to think about how spiritual teachings can transform your life today while you're still here, living in this world full of challenges and uncertainties? Often, when we hear about spirits, messages from the beyond, or life after death, our minds tend to think of them as distant, abstract, almost inaccessible concepts. But what if I told you that the messages of Emmanuel, the spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier, are not just theoretical, but can be applied practically in your daily life, helping you deal with fears, complicated relationships, and even the resentments we silently carry? Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover now may surprise you and bring insights that truly make a difference in the way you live. Emmanuel has always emphasized that the soul's learning is not limited to the afterlife. On the contrary, he shows us that every thought, every action, every decision has a direct impact on our spiritual evolution, as well as on the quality of life here and now. Imagine how many times you've felt trapped by negative feelings, insecurities, or hurts that seem to never end. What Emmanuel teaches us is that these situations don't need to be seen as permanent obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, forgiveness, and self-transformation. Have you ever experienced moments when you realized that if you changed just one attitude, everything could be different? Well, that's exactly what these messages invite us to reflect on. Emmanuel's guidance, psychographed by Chico Xavier, addresses profound issues in an accessible way. It discusses how to cultivate patience, empathy, understanding, and tolerance, demonstrating that small changes in daily life can have significant impacts on our emotional and spiritual well-being. He reminds us that the way we relate to others, how we deal with our own fears, and how we practice meditation or self-knowledge directly influence the evolution of the soul. And the most incredible thing is realizing that these lessons are not just for the distant future, but for the present, which we can transform with awareness and attention. Throughout his messages, Emmanuel presents us with reflections that encourage us to look within and recognize patterns that often go unnoticed. Pent-up resentments, internal criticism, hasty judgments. By identifying these issues, we are invited to work on them, applying simple practices of forgiveness, self-care, and loving others. And by doing so, we begin to notice changes not only in our spirituality, but also in our relationships, our inner peace, and the way we face the challenges of daily life. Stay with me, because each insight you will discover has direct application in your daily life and can transform. It's not only your spirit, but also your experience here on earth. What makes these messages even more trustworthy is the authority of Emmanuel, recognized worldwide within the Spiritist doctrine. It's the calm and clear way in which he transmitted teachings through Chico Xavier. This isn't empty theory or fanciful ideas. It's practical guidance based on consistent spiritual experiences that helps us better understand life, death, and the paths our soul takes. Have you ever felt that some lessons seem to speak directly to you, as if they were a mirror of your own life? It's precisely this kind of connection that these messages provide, and that's why they remain so relevant today. So, as we prepare to dive even deeper, imagine that everything you'll discover isn't just about spiritual destinations, but about how to live better, how to deal with fears and resentments, and how to transform your daily reality consciously and lovingly. The anticipation you feel now is natural, because we're about to enter a universe of practical reflections that connect spirituality, self-knowledge, and personal growth in ways you've never experienced before. Have you ever wondered how the life we lead here on earth influences the destiny of our spirit after death? It's a question that awakens a natural restlessness in all of us, because deep down, we all sense that there's something beyond what we can see or touch. What you're about to discover now may surprise you, because life after death isn't an end point, but a continuation of what we experienced, felt, and chose while incarnate. Stay with me until the end, because this reflection may change the way you view your attitudes, your thoughts, and even your relationships today. Emmanuel's wisdom, conveyed through the messages psychographed by Chico Xavier, shows us that every experience, every gesture of love or resentment, every decision made or avoided, leaves marks that accompany the soul on its journey. These are not just spiritual beliefs, but a profound truth that connects the physical world to the spiritual, revealing that how we deal with our emotions and with others directly impacts the path our spirit will take. Situations where you felt your actions or choices had consequences that went far beyond what was expected. This is the same logic that governs our spiritual journey. When we reflect on the destinies of the spirit, we realize that they are not just places, but states of consciousness and learning. Every choice made in life contributes to shaping the experience the soul will have after death, and understanding this helps us act with greater awareness and compassion. Emmanuel invites us to look within ourselves, recognize our flaws, value our virtues, and seek continuous growth, remembering that there is always opportunity for transformation. It is natural to feel fear or doubt, but it is also possible to cultivate hope and love, knowing that each step towards spiritual evolution brings us closer to a more harmonious destiny. Now, imagine if you could see these choices as paths, and each action you take as a bridge connecting the present to the spiritual future. How are you preparing your spirit to move toward one of these places? The simple act of reflecting on this is already a movement of consciousness that begins to alter the energy you emit, and consequently, the path your spirit will follow. Stay with me, because throughout this video we will explore not only the possible destinations, but also what they teach us about life, love, forgiveness, and learning, and how we can apply these lessons to live more fully and meaningfully. Emmanuel reminds us that it's never too late to reevaluate our attitudes and initiate changes that elevate our soul. Every moment of reflection, every gesture of kindness or understanding, every effort to forgive or reconcile, helps our spirit advance toward lighter and more transformative experiences. What seems simple in everyday life can have a profound impact on the destiny of the spirit, revealing that spirituality is not distant, but intertwined with every choice, every thought, and every action we take. As we prepare to continue this journey, keep this question in mind: how can I live today so that my spirit is ready to walk a path of light and learning? The answer is neither immediate nor unique, but reflection itself is a significant step. The anticipation you feel now is only the beginning. For what comes next will open doors to understanding how our experiences, feelings, and decisions shape not only the life we lead, but also the destiny of our soul, showing that there is always opportunity for evolution, love, and transformation. And as you reflect on all this, it's natural for feelings and memories to emerge, demonstrating how much our life experiences are linked to each lesson our soul accumulates. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what touched you most, or any experience you've had that connects with these reflections. Sharing your insights isn't just a gesture of interaction, it's also a way to connect with others who are seeking to understand life and spirituality more deeply. Each comment helps create a space for exchange and empathy, demonstrating that we are not alone on this journey of self-discovery and evolution. And if you feel that Emmanuel's messages resonate with you, please consider liking the video. Simple gesture isn't just about numbers, but about recognizing the value of the content and encouraging more people to access these heart-touching reflections. Your like helps the channel reach those who need to hear these words, allowing these ideas of hope, transformation, and learning to touch even more lives. Furthermore, you want to continue following content that explores spirituality, teachings from the beyond, and the journey of the soul? Subscribing to the channel is an important step. Your subscription shows that you want to be part of this community of people who seek to better understand life and death, who value deep reflection, and who want to apply these teachings in their daily lives. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content, allowing us to continue bringing messages that inspire comfort and awaken consciousness. So, while you think about all this, leave your comment, click the like button, and subscribe so you don't miss the continuation of this journey. With every gesture, you help build a more connected, conscious, and reflective community. And this makes all the difference in ensuring these messages continue to reach those who need to hear them most. Stay with me, because the journey we're about to embark on through the 7 destinations of the Spirit will reveal details that can deeply touch your soul and change the way you approach every choice, every feeling, and every action in life. Have you ever wondered where your spirit goes after death? It's one of those questions that, even when we try to ignore it, insists on following us. They arise in moments of silence, in those moments when routine slows down and our minds begin to reflect on things beyond what we can touch or measure. What you'll discover now may surprise you, because it's not just about imaginary destinations or places, but about deep states of the soul, about choices we make daily that, in subtle ways, define the path our spirit will take. It's natural to feel curiosity and, at the same time, a certain restlessness. Humanity has always sought answers to this great question because, no matter how much life distracts us, there exists within each of us a silent need to understand what happens when the body ceases to exist, and how what we are here resonates beyond. These reflections don't stem from assumptions or empty theories. They are based on the messages of Emmanuel, a spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier, recognized worldwide for his wisdom and serenity. Emmanuel provided profound answers, yet in an accessible way, with a clarity that allows anyone, regardless of belief or spiritual background, to connect with these ideas. He shows us that the spirit is not simply an entity that goes to a place after death, but rather an energy that carries with it everything it has experienced, learned, and felt. Every thought, every emotion, and every decision we make directly resonates with the destiny that awaits us, making our existence here and now a true laboratory of experiences and choices. Imagine for a moment that your spirit is about to embark on a journey that knows no physical barriers, but is completely shaped by the vibrations you have cultivated. Every unresolved emotion, every act of kindness or resentment, every decision, made or avoided, acts like a magnet, directing your spirit toward one of the 7 possible destinations that Emmanuel so carefully describes. These destinations are not merely geographic or concrete. They are states of consciousness, spiritual conditions that reflect not only who we were, but who we have become through our attitudes and choices. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding these nuances is essential. 2. Realizing the true dimension of our actions in everyday life and the impact they have on our soul's trajectory. The first point that becomes clear is that every spiritual destiny is, in a way, a mirror. It reflects our habits, our emotional patterns, and our ability to deal with the challenges life presents us. A spirit that has cultivated feelings of empathy, forgiveness, and love will tend to achieve lighter and more harmonious experiences, while a spirit that has clung to resentment, envy, or self-pity will face more complex paths, requiring learning, reparation, and transformation. It is fascinating to realize that what happens after death is not random or predetermined by an external rule, but is the direct consequence of our own mindset and daily choices. This is the hidden truth that many ignore, but which Emmanuel reveals with authority, showing that there is always a path to learning, regardless of failures or mistakes. Now, if we look behind the scenes of this spiritual journey, we realize that each experience is designed to awaken something within us, to teach lessons that often go unnoticed in physical life. Regret, for example, is not a punishment. It is an opportunity to recognize patterns that limit us and to begin a real and profound transformation. Life after death then emerges as a natural extension of the life we lead here, an expanded reflection of the decisions we make, the way we deal with our relationships, our fears, and our own expectations. Emmanuel guides us through this understanding in a way that is as gentle as it is firm, showing that even in the face of the unknown, there is a logic that leads us to evolution, learning, and above all, reconciliation with ourselves and the universe. And it is precisely this perspective that changes everything. By realizing that death is not an endpoint, but a continuation of our own story, we begin to understand the value of every moment, every choice, and every feeling cultivated. Life here ceases to be merely a sequence of events and becomes a true preparation, a space for training and refinement for the journey our soul will follow. This is why the curiosity we feel about life after death is not merely an intellectual question. It touches something deeper, a need for understanding that can guide us to a real, silent, yet powerful transformation. Every decision, every emotion, every unresolved thought influences the energy we carry and, consequently, the destiny of the spirit. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because it is precisely when we understand the relationship between our daily actions and our spiritual destinies that we can see the true dimension of the responsibility we carry over our own lives. It's not about fear or punishment, but about awareness and learning. Every ethical choice, every act of kindness, every moment we choose to face our fears or work on our weaknesses builds a bridge to a lighter, more enlightened destiny, more aligned with the growth of the soul. And at the same time, mistakes, hurts, and accumulated resentments act as weights, which can prolong more difficult learning paths, requiring reflection, courage, and internal transformation. This is the essence of the 7 possibilities Emmanuel describes, 7 paths that mirror the life we lead, the impact of our decisions, and the constant need for evolution. The magnitude of this understanding is impressive because it leads us to reflect on topics we often avoid, but which carry immense power for change. Thinking of death as a continuation, as an amplified reflection of our own journey, challenges us to look within ourselves, to question habits, to recognize emotions, and to seek a transformation that, although silent, can be extraordinary. Each soul has its own story, but the principle that guides the journey is universal love, learning, conscious choices, and spiritual growth. By internalizing this logic, we realize that we are not at the mercy of chance, but that, in fact, we are architects of our own evolution, builders of the experiences our soul will experience. Even after the death of the physical body, this perspective invites us to delve deeper, explore not only possible destinations, but the very structure of our lives, our decisions, and the energy we emit into the world. It makes us question, how have I responded to learning opportunities? How do my choices reflect the spirit I aspire to be? It is at this point that curiosity and the desire for transformation meet, opening space for even deeper reflections on how each moment lived here influences the paths the soul will follow. Emmanuel guides us, not just as a distant observer, but as a mentor who reveals the logic of the spiritual journey, showing that there is always room for correction, transformation, and evolution. Comment there, I'm on this journey too. Have you ever stopped to consider that the life we lead here on Earth is just one part of a much larger journey? And that every thought, feeling, and decision has a direct impact on the trajectory of our spirit? It's a hidden truth that many ignore, but which Emmanuel's teachings, transmitted through Chico Xavier's psychographies, reveal with clarity and depth. He invites us to realize that death is not an endpoint, but a natural continuation of what we experience and feel, and that the destinies of the spirit are not simply physical places, but states of consciousness that reflect everything we cultivate. While incarnate, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding how our attitudes and choices influence the soul is essential to seeing the true dimension of life and the transformation we can achieve. Each spirit, upon leaving the body, carries with it an energy shaped by years of decisions, emotions, and experiences. Imagine someone who has always sought to understand others, who has cultivated empathy, love, and forgiveness. This spirit tends to find lighter paths where learning continues harmoniously, without the heavy burdens we so often feel throughout life. On the other hand, spirits who have clung to resentments, fears, or destructive attitudes face more challenging paths, where learning requires deep reflection, courage, and inner transformation. It's fascinating to realize that, contrary to what many believe, these destinies don't arise as punishment or automatic reward, but as a natural consequence of the energy each person emanates throughout life. Consider for a moment the behind-the-scenes nature of your own existence. Every unresolved emotion, every unsaid word, every gesture of kindness or indifference acts as a bridge connecting the present to spiritual destiny. The human mind tends to underestimate the power of these choices, but Emmanuel reminds us that they carry a real impact, one that resonates with the soul's eternity. This isn't just philosophy or speculation, it's a profound logic that recurs in different spiritual experiences, demonstrating that life doesn't end with death, but rather becomes a continuous opportunity for learning and evolution. Stay with me as we delve into this idea, because it leads us to reflect on our own responsibility for the path our spirit will follow. Throughout this journey, it's important to understand that each of the 7 possible destinations described by Emmanuel is not a simple point in space, but rather a condition that reflects the internal state of each soul. Some paths represent experiences of serenity and harmony, where the spirit's consciousness is open to love, understanding, and transformation. Other destinations reflect density, challenges, and regrets, demanding the spirit's courage to face its own shadow, acknowledge mistakes, and seek evolution. Each experience is an invitation to self-knowledge and reflection on our daily attitudes, demonstrating that even small changes in our behavior can have profound repercussions on the spirit's trajectory. Imagine a spirit that, in life, harbored envy, resentment, or deep hurt. Upon leaving the body, it encounters no external punishment. It encounters situations that reflect these emotions, which function as mirrors, showing precisely what needs to be understood and transformed. The intensity of such experiences acts as a silent training, demanding from the spirit a learning journey that, while challenging, is profoundly necessary for its evolution. On the other hand, a spirit that has developed compassion, honesty, and altruism continues its journey in states that provide lighter growth, important revelations, and the possibility of working on even more subtle aspects of its own consciousness. This understanding radically changes the way we view life. Every action, every word, every feeling cultivated is not isolated. It leaves an energetic trail that influences the destiny of the spirit. By realizing this, we begin to see life as a continuous learning laboratory, where the impact of our decisions and attitudes goes far beyond what we imagine. The mindset that our choices matter is not only motivational, it is the key to understanding how we evolve spiritually and how each moment lived here resonates on invisible levels, shaping the path our soul will follow. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because by understanding these connections, we begin to realize the magnitude of responsibility we carry. What we do, think, and feel does not disappear with death. It transforms into energy that guides the soul toward experiences that reflect exactly what we cultivate. Each spiritual destination is, therefore, a continuation of the journey we began here, demonstrating that evolution is neither luck nor chance, but a direct result of the attention, awareness, and effort we apply to our own lives. It's impressive to think that the most subtle lessons, the seemingly small gestures, the most discreet inner feelings, have lasting repercussions on the spiritual trajectory. The great revelation is that these 7 destinies are not fixed or immutable. Each spirit has opportunities for continuous transformation, being able to alter their trajectory as they better understand their actions, emotions, and responsibilities. Life then ceases to be a random sequence of events and becomes a journey rich in meaning, where each moment carries the potential for growth, learning, and love. This perspective connects us directly with the essence of what Emmanuel conveys. To us, death ends nothing. It only magnifies and reflects more intensely all that we have been and all that we can still become. Realizing this brings us face to face with a powerful truth. We are agents of our own evolution. Every decision, every act of kindness or confrontation with fears and resentments, every moment of sincere reflection builds the bridge that the spirit will cross. It's not about fear or punishment, but about awareness and responsibility. Life. Here is the ground where we sow the fruits that will flourish in the continuation of our spiritual journey. The more attentive we are, the more we understand the power of our choices and their impact on our evolution. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding how each spiritual destiny reflects the life we lead allows us to see the true dimension of learning, opportunities, and transformation offered to us. Every experience, every emotion, every thought we cultivate is a piece of this journey, showing that life after death is, in essence, a natural extension of what we experience, feel, and choose here. It is at this point that curiosity transforms into reflection, and reflection into silent yet powerful action, capable of shaping not only the spirit, but the entire path of learning and evolution that awaits us. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. Have you ever stopped to think that the life we lead today, with all its challenges, choices, and emotions, is directly connected to our soul's journey? We often think of spirituality as something distant, an abstract concept that only manifests itself in books or in extraordinary situations. But Emmanuel, a spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, shows us that these messages have practical application in everyday life, and that the lessons we learn through them can transform the way we live, feel, and act. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding how these teachings connect to our daily lives reveals a dimension of impact and awareness that many are unaware of. Every gesture we make, every word we utter, every emotion, we harbor is like a seed sown in our own inner garden. When we cultivate resentment, hurt, or fear, we are, in a sense, rooting these energies in our lives, and they end up shaping future experiences, placing us in situations that challenge us to face these feelings. On the other hand, attitudes of empathy, forgiveness, and understanding, even subtle ones, begin to have a positive impact, creating opportunities for harmony, learning, and emotional evolution. Emmanuel teaches us that spirituality is not something separate from practical life. On the contrary, it is the lens through which we can see and improve everything we experience. From our most intimate relationships to our daily challenges, think about the inner workings of your own mind and emotions. How many times have you found yourself trapped by negative thoughts or fears that seemed insurmountable? How many times has an argument or a hurt feeling taken up more space than it should, affecting not only your mood but also your decisions and even the way you relate to others? Emmanuel shows us that these situations can be understood as opportunities for transformation. Small exercises in self-knowledge and self-mastery that, when applied attentively, can profoundly alter the course of our lives. Deflecting on our choices, observing how we react to difficulties, and seeking to cultivate higher feelings is not just an abstract spiritual exercise. It is a concrete tool for changing the quality of our existence. Imagine, for example, the power that a simple moment of meditation can have. It's not just a moment of pause, but an opportunity to reorganize thoughts, to notice recurring patterns, to work through unresolved emotions. Emmanuel invites us to look at these moments carefully, showing us that each small effort toward self-improvement is reflected in our energy and brings us closer to more balanced states, directly affecting not only our present life, but also the journey our soul will follow later. Likewise, dealing with relationships, conflicts, and resentments becomes a practice of continuous growth. Every attempt to understand another, every gesture of forgiveness or reconciliation, however silent and discreet, has a real and profound impact, building internal bridges of emotional and spiritual evolution. The beauty of these messages lies in the connection we feel when we apply them to our daily lives. It's impossible not to realize that common life situations, from an argument at work to frustration with a friend or family member, can be interpreted from the perspective of the soul's learning. Emmanuel not only guides us about the afterlife, he offers us keys to understanding and improving the life we live now. It is the combination of reflection, action, and awareness that creates a mindset of continuous transformation, allowing each decision we make to become a step towards states of balance, understanding, and inner growth. What makes these guidelines even more impactful is Emmanuel's authority. His messages, transmitted by Chico Xavier, are globally recognized and have a consistency that allows us to trust the veracity of their teachings. This isn't abstract philosophy or generic advice. It's detailed, practical, and accessible guidance, capable of touching the life of anyone willing to reflect and apply the teachings consciously. This combination of wisdom and practical application shows us that spiritual development is not a distant concept, but a daily, intimate journey involving decisions, attitudes, and internal transformations that impact all areas of life. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding the relationship between our daily choices and the spiritual states we can achieve allows us to see life from a different perspective. Every moment becomes meaningful, every emotion has value, and every decision becomes an opportunity for growth. Emmanuel's messages teach us that spiritual evolution is not a distant goal, but a constant practice that reveals itself in everyday life, in the simplest gestures, the most subtle decisions, and the deepest reflections. It's as if we can access a hidden truth that, when understood, gives us clarity on how to act, feel, and transform our reality continuously and consciously. This perspective leads us to reflect on how we use our time and energy, how we react to situations, and how we deal with our own feelings. Every applied lesson, every moment of introspection, and every act of love or understanding functions as a gear that moves the soul's journey making it lighter, more balanced, and aligned with what truly matters. It's not about perfection, but about consistency and awareness, about realizing that everything we do impacts our trajectory and shapes the destinies that lie ahead, whether in physical life or on the spiritual plane. And as we understand this connection, we begin to realize the beauty of the opportunity we now have to transform our days, our feelings, and our relationships, building a life that not only makes sense to us, but also prepares our spirit for higher experiences. Understanding that our daily actions are connected to a greater journey offers us motivation, hope, and a deep sense of purpose, reminding us that there is always room for learning, change, and evolution. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding how these messages apply today allows us to see the opportunities that arise in every situation, even those that seem challenging or discouraging. This is where reflection becomes practical, and each insight can be transformed into action, revealing how spirituality is intertwined with real life, helping us navigate fears, resentments, difficult choices, and complex relationships in a conscious and a transformative way. Comment there. That makes sense to me. Have you ever stopped to think that everything we experience, feel, and choose here on Earth continues to reverberate far beyond our perception? Life after death is not an endpoint or an absolute unknown, but a natural continuation of our own journey, an amplified reflection of the attitudes, thoughts, and emotions we carry as incarnate beings. Every gesture of love, every ethical decision, every moment of forgiveness or reconciliation is like a seed sown in fertile soil, whose impact extends beyond our vision. And likewise, every hurt, resentment, or fear we insist on harboring also transforms into energy that shapes the trajectory of our spirit. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding the connection between the life we lead and the destinies that await us reveals a dimension of responsibility, an awareness that often goes unnoticed. It's fascinating to realize that the spirit, upon leaving the body, isn't transported to a random place. It moves on to states that reflect exactly what it has cultivated throughout life. Emmanuel, through the messages psychographed by Chico Xavier, shows us that these destinations are not mere geographic spaces, but conditions of consciousness. Experiences that reflect our inner evolution, our choices, and the energy we emanate. It's as if every emotion we feel, every decision made or avoided, is recorded behind the scenes of the soul itself, shaping a path that must be traveled with attention, learning, and transformation. This understanding completely transforms our perception of life. What seemed fleeting or insignificant acquires immeasurable weight and relevance. By reflecting on this logic, we begin to see that repentance, forgiveness, empathy, and love are not abstract concepts or idealizations from a distant spiritual world, but real tools for growth and evolution. Each time we choose to understand someone instead of judging, each time we address our own shadows instead of ignoring them, we are building bridges that will guide our spirit to lighter and more harmonious states. On the other hand, when we harbor resentment, fear, or selfishness, we are creating barriers that, sooner or later, will require intense confrontation, reflection, and learning. Life thus becomes a continuous laboratory, a space for experimentation and transformation. And understanding this hidden truth gives us clarity on how we can act more consciously and lovingly. Imagine, for a moment, the depths of an existence where every experience, found the simplest, most mundane, or seemingly inconsequential, carries the potential to shape the spirit's destiny. A genuine smile, a comforting word, a generous gesture may seem small, but the energy they convey reverberates, strengthening the spirit and preparing it to walk paths of learning and enlightenment. Likewise, every negative thought, every lingering resentment, every act of selfishness, even if silent, creates a density that needs to be understood and transformed. It's a subtle dance between conscious choices and natural consequences, a constant, invisible, yet profoundly impactful flow. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding how all of this applies to our practical lives allows us to see the opportunity for transformation in every moment. Life is not a series of disconnected events. It is a continuous journey of self-discovery, improvement, and evolution. Every challenge, every intense emotion, every complex relationship is, in essence, an opportunity to shape the energy of our soul and, consequently, the destinies that await us. Emmanuel guides us in this understanding with calm authority, showing that awareness of our choices need not generate fear, but rather hope and motivation to grow, learn, and transform. What this process reveals is that it's never too late to reevaluate our trajectory and act differently. Every moment of reflection, every act of kindness, every effort at forgiveness or reconciliation acts as a catalyst that elevates the soul, bringing lightness, clarity, and possibilities for continuous evolution. It's not about perfection, but about attention, the courage to look within, a genuine desire to improve and cultivate feelings that promote harmony and love. Life after death thus emerges as a natural extension of what we have experienced, revealing that each moment carries the opportunity for learning, transformation, and spiritual growth. Realizing this profound connection between our present actions and the soul's journey leads us to reflect, how are we preparing our spirit to follow one of these destinations? Are we cultivating feelings and attitudes that strengthen and elevate the soul, or are we clinging to emotions that weigh us down and prolong more difficult learning experiences? The answer is not simple, but reflection itself is already a powerful step toward transformation. Every conscious choice we make here directly influences the quality of the experience our spirit will have, demonstrating that life is, in essence, a continuous process of improvement and evolution. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding this logic allows us to perceive the beauty of every opportunity for growth, the importance of our daily decisions, and the silent yet profound impact that every gesture, every thought, and every emotion has on the spiritual journey. It is at this point that reflection ceases to be merely theoretical and becomes a daily practice, opening space for us to live with greater awareness, love, and intention. Life seen from this perspective becomes richer, more meaningful, and full of purpose, demonstrating that there is always room for transformation. Learning and light. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. And if you've made it this far, you've already realized how these reflections can profoundly touch our lives and spirits, haven't you? If this content brought clarity or awakened something within you, subscribing to the channel is a way to continue following these messages and delve even deeper into the truths and lessons Emmanuel brought us. Also, take the opportunity to leave a comment saying, "I'm with you until the end," showing that you've walked this journey with me and reinforcing the connection we've built throughout the video. A like also makes a difference, because it helps keep this type of content alive, reaching more people, seeking reflection and inspiration for life and the soul. And before you leave, there's a video here that complements this topic. Click and stay with me there so we can continue exploring together the paths and mysteries that life and the spirit have to reveal to us,